the world's leading genocide scholars have formally declared that Israel's war on Gaza meets the legal definition of genocide. The International Association of Genocide Scholars has passed a resolution saying Israel's actions match the definition of genocide set out by the United Nations. Joining us now to discuss this is Timothy Williams. Sir, you are the second vice president of the executive board of the International Association of Genocide Scholars. You're in Munich. So this is not a group, I think, that is widely known to the general public. Can you quickly explain who you are collectively?
Yes, we're a group of almost 500 scholars of genocide worldwide who study many different facets of genocide and many different cases of genocide. We, as a collective, we meet for scholarly discussions, but also one of the things that we do is we pass resolutions on historic and current cases of genocide when we see it happening, in order to try and make the public aware of cases that are happening. Obviously, in the case of Gaza, it's widely being discussed, but I think it's often a very politicized discussion. And so I hope that the International Association of Genocide Scholars commenting on this and passing a resolution will give some academic credentials to those who are claiming that it is genocide.
Yeah, we want to get to the substance and the academia of it. Just before I do that, do you know if you're the largest group of experts on genocide in the world? I'm not aware of another one, but I don't want to make an assumption.
There is another association, the International Network of Genocide Scholars, but I do believe we're slightly larger.
Okay.
But many of us are members of both associations.
Okay, so explain to us, I have your resolution, I've read it, it's 2.5 pages. Explain to us what makes the conflict in Gaza genocide, according to the vast majority of your 500 members, rather than just warfare.
So according to the UN Convention of Genocide, there needs to be an intent to destroy the targeted population, in this case, the Palestinian nation in Gaza. And there are 5 crimes that can be committed to do this. Killing members of the group, causing serious bodily harm, and deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring the physical destruction, and 2 other crimes as well. But in particular, these first 3 crimes, we do find considerable evidence for in Gaza. More than 59,000 people at the time the resolution was penned had been killed, 143,000 injured, and 2.3 million people displaced. And I think particularly importantly is also the deprivation of food and water and healthcare, which is creating mass starvation and will have an impact for years and decades to come. The destruction of arable land, food warehouses and bakeries, which hinders the production of food, and also a restriction of humanitarian aid, which means you don't need to just shoot someone for it to constitute genocide. Also depriving them of the conditions to have life also constitutes genocide.
So I think some people might listen to you and watch this interview and think, I think there might be 2 sets of reactions. Some people might think, well, why did it take you so long to call it genocide? 63,000 people have been killed. Others may think the opposite. This is unfair, maybe even biased. What do you say to both sets of viewers?
Yeah. To those who say that we're biased, I don't think that's the case. These resolution processes, we collate a lot of evidence, the people bringing the resolution, and the members in an anonymous vote on whether they think it's plausible or not that it meets the legal definition. Why now? In the end, it's because it takes a member or several members to come together and write a resolution that they believe that the membership will pass. And I think it's important that to stress that the members don't just pass any resolution, but that there's a high threshold for people and scholars of genocide saying that it is this. It's not a word which is just thrown around. The legal definition has meaning because it has very political consequences. And so I think it wasn't until midway through this year that a group of scholars thought that it was the right time to claim this. I think there's a lot of, for me personally, I didn't think it was a genocide in October 2023 or November 2023, but my thinking started changing hearing the statements of Israeli leading politicians and military personnel, and seeing the ongoing and escalationary dynamics on the ground. And I think now it's beyond question. And I think this was a ripe time for the association to come out and have this resolution and say that we believe that it does constitute the crime of genocide.
So your resolution says that, quote, international civil society has a responsibility to prevent genocide. Can you walk us through that? I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean all of us have a responsibility to stop genocide? Individually, we're all responsible for this and should do something to that end? And if so, is that a legal requirement?
It is not a legal requirement. There is a legal requirement on states to prevent genocide according to the Genocide Convention, and also a legal requirement to punish. There's no legal requirement on you or I as citizens of different countries to do this. But I think there is a moral obligation to do this and to put pressure on our governments to fulfill their obligations as states to the Genocide Convention. And for me personally, as an academic, as an intellectual, I see it as part of this, as a scholar, as speaking to you today, voting in the resolution process, as part of that, as a citizen, as part of my moral obligation. But really, the question is, what do states do? They're the ones who have the legal obligations, and they're the ones who have the power to make differences.
All right. Timothy Williams of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera.
Don't miss out to get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.